know what I mean? They just wanna. Well, hello everybody. Welcome to Nightcap for June 15th, 2021. We're here. We made it. We made it. It's happening. What a day, everybody. What in the world? What in the world? You know? These chicks, these girls, boy, do they love having fun. Born this way or not, they do. Right? You hear the song? Are you enraptured by it like I am? God. You haven't heard Cyndi Lauper's Girls Just Want to Have Fun until you've heard the feminine penis version, the Bobby remix.
Doesn't really ejaculate, and it has a different mouthfeel. Can we please talk about the mouthfeel?
Yeah.
Why is no one talking about the mouthfeel?
Wow. Inspirational stuff to start the show. Inspirational. I'm fucking jazzed. I'm ready for the night. I'm ready to go now. That's just a little pick-me-up I needed. I needed to be able to jam with Cyndi Lauper. Who doesn't? I remember when the Body Acoustic came out. Oh boy, a young 19-year-old Shaun running down to Newberry Comics on Newberry Street. Picked up that shit. It was a double. It had a DVD and it had a CD. We were rocking till the sun came up that night, fellas. Let me tell you something. Just enjoying it on repeat. On repeat. So yeah. Crazy day today, everybody. A lot of silly business got up to in the world. We're not going to talk about any of it. I had a good day overall, I guess. A lot of yard work. Feel very masculine right now. Feel accomplished. So I put a shirt on with a collar. You know, really show people I take this very seriously. I'm very professional. I'm an official professional streamer businessman. You know? Anyways, we're going to get into it tonight. We're going to be talking about the feminine penis. We're going to be talking about all sorts of things that go bump in your drawers.
This is
Oh, Jesus. Victoria. So, yeah. We're going to get into it. I don't know where we're going to go. We never know where we're going to go. We don't fucking plot paths. We just have general directions, you know? We'd be an awful map. Nightcap would make it for an awful map. No specificity. Just go where the night takes us. We got our compass pointed north or south, depending on your proclivity, I suppose. Let's get right into it. We're going to learn about Victoria and her boyfriend. My trans girlfriend doesn't make me gay. Love, don't judge. Don't judge a thing.
Victoria. She fell in love with Chris. The couple first met in high school, but back then, both their lives were very different.
I'd have kids spitting on me or throwing trash at me, yelling obscenities, telling me to go kill myself every single day.
I was part of the athletic community, and a bunch of the kids that I was surrounded by used to bully Victoria.
When I was transitioning,
And he was not cool with that. He's white knighting even after the fact. This beefcake, part of the athletics community. A new identity has arisen.
it felt like nobody would ever love me.
Having lost touch after graduating, years later, romance blossomed between the two after they unexpectedly matched on Tinder. But even with high school fading into a distant memory, the couple have found that some judgment still remains the same.
Some of the worst stereotypes that we'll get, that I'm a man and he's gay.
I worry about the comments that she gets, just totally unnecessary slander for her.
Deep. She's got these little chipmunk cheeks, though. You know? I have to imagine. Some work has been done here. Softening the features, shaving some of this chin situation. You don't want to be like Brock Turner here, with a square jaw, his angular features. You know, looks a little bit like the right side of the spectrum's favorite trans lady, Blair White. A little bit.
I hate this picture.
Yeah, I know you do, but I love it so much.
Goofballs. We're absolute goofballs. My name is Victoria Rose.
Don't you love it when people like show you pictures of of them and their significant other? You know, people do this all the time. This is why I don't hang out with people. This is why I don't talk to anybody, because they infuriate me. But they'll do things like show you pictures of like trips they've taken and say, "Aren't we just adorable? Oh, we're just so wacky. We're just wacky. We're just a wacky couple." Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with taking goofy or wacky pictures, but, you know, keep it to yourself. We don't all need that. We don't need to see it. We just don't.
I am a 22-year-old woman of trans experience, and I make LGBT content on YouTube.
I'm Christopher St. Germain. I am 23 years old, and I am a music engineer and an artist.
We've been together for
And not gay. And not gay, Christopher.
about a year and a half now, so going strong. We went to high school together. We weren't super close friends, but he knew of me. We grew up in a small farming town. I transitioned really young, so as you can imagine, me transitioning from male to female at such a young age was very jarring.
In a small farming town. No, I don't expect them to name the town. Were her parents farmers? Who were her parents? I'm just assuming, you know, just to thinking about like the way that perception works and people, if you're kind of a simple salt of the earth person, this might not be something you totally understand or could even accept. You know, there's fields that need to be plowed. He's like, I had a son. He was going to be plowing my fields, so I didn't have to because my back. Now what do I do?
For a lot of people to be seeing and to hear about. We came from such different walks of life because I was kind of like an art nerd and he was in all of the sports in high school. I knew him as a very handsome jock.
A bunch of the kids that I was...
You know, he looks a little bit like my brother, especially those old pictures. These high school photos. That's a dead ringer for my brother Ryan. Just that fop, that floppy mop. You ever seen one of those? Oh, now you have. I got kind of that going on, I guess, a little bit, except like the older man's version. You know? Very stylish.
Jock.
A bunch of the kids that I was surrounded by used to bully Victoria.
I'd have kids spitting on me or throwing trash at me, yelling obscenities, telling me to go kill myself every single day.
I wasn't aware of the entirety of it, but there were moments where I did witness it, and I heard all sorts of garbage in the school, people saying stuff, and I was always like, hey, just shut up, like, don't, this isn't important, like, why are you guys making fun of her?
Chris and Victoria graduated and went their separate ways. They eventually ended up back in their hometown, where a chance meeting on Tinder would change both their lives forever.
I'm very curious to see how this played out, how this aspect of it played out. Because they haven't really talked about whether or not he was totally aware of the entirety of the situation. But I guess he did take some sort of notice. Did he recognize, or Victoria? It's like, hey, that's that kid. Oh, fuck. Hot as fuck, dude. Brain's all confused, everything's discombobulated. You're like, that's my friend Vic? Fuck yeah.
I saw him on Tinder. I knew that I already had eyes for him.
But I saw her and went, oh my God, that's Victoria. I mean, she didn't look that much different than she did in high school. She's always been pretty. But
These are the first messages that Chris sent me on Tinder.
See, this is the most obnoxious, heinous thing about this video. Who the fuck does this? This is not just a lot of work. This is like psychotic. They have text messages saved. Like, it's okay just to let some things live in your memory, you know? You don't need to put it all out there like this. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm just a old curmudgeon. Doesn't believe in these kinds of things.
Tinder, and I was so nervous because I had just gotten my bottom surgery. You know, I hadn't told anyone about it yet.
I said, "You've become quite a beautiful woman, Victoria. I'm very proud of you for pushing through the terrible hate and living your truth."
I messaged him and I said, "I'm good, but I'm actually recovering from surgery at the moment, so I'm not working." So he said, "What did you have surgery on?" And I said,
"My fucking dick."
I had gender confirmation surgery, so, and I had an emoji of a eggplant and then a taco, because I'm classy.
And we all get to relive it together, as it was like, almost like we were there, like it's fucking happening. Time and space have converged in their little scrapbook of memories. We're right there with them. We can feel it. We feel the passion. We feel the fire. You know?
I have had a breast augmentation. I have had a tracheal shave where they shaved down the Adam's apple, and I have had my sexual reassignment surgery, changing male genitalia to female genitalia. I feel like the surgeries that I have had got me to where I need to be mentally. I didn't want him to see me as that insecure, sad high school kid, because that's not who I am anymore. I wanted him to just treat me like anyone else, which he certainly did, but he wasn't trying to forget that I was transgender. He was okay with it.
It did not take very long for us to realize that we were very well aligned.
She's got this WAP. She's got this WAP. And it needs attention. You know? She doesn't keep an open wound there for nothing, okay?
There are a lot of things that I like about Chris. He's very understanding, he's very empathetic, and he's smart as a whip.
We just work so perfectly together. She's very patient with me when I have my issues in my life. I mean, our hobbies, and we just make a really good team.
We want a family one day. We want a normal, happy, wholesome life.
But the couple have come up against a lot of prejudice about their relationship due to Victoria being part of the trans community.
Some of the worst stereotypes that we'll get, really most basic one, is that I'm a man and he's gay.
They always ask about surgical status, and they do not word it that pleasantly.
First question, to put it bluntly, is always just, does she have a penis?
What does it matter, right? I'm in love with her, and you're an old friend of mine.
And the peen would be feminine at this point because of the hormones, you know, kind of somewhere between hard and flaccid. We've all seen videos. I mean, we've all been clicking around, found ourselves places. You know, everybody's curious. You gotta find out for yourself. You gotta see what's out there. Talking about protecting, you know, protecting something.
Why does it matter what's going on with her sexually? And none of your business, really. That's what it comes down to.
None of your beeswax.
What is up, everybody?
Kids.
Welcome back to my channel. So my YouTube channel, I get a lot of support, but I also certainly get some people commenting, you know, man, ugly, fat. You know, my favorite one is fake vajayjays, grotesque. Have one saying, can I just point out the obvious here, not being rude, but just saying you will not be able to have a baby. Like, I do know. Thank you. Jesus Christ is a man and he rose a man.
What does that have to do with anything?
Never said anything what she says. I get this a lot.
Oh, I got into a deeper register there. Hold on.
Thank you. Jesus Christ is a man and he rose a man.
What does that have to do with anything?
Never said anything what she says.
Never say anything what she says. I don't know.
I get this a lot. I get you're pretty hot for a dude. I get that a lot.
I mean, Aerosmith dedicated an entire song to this kind of thing. Dude looks like a lady. You ever see Mrs. Doubtfire? The OG? The OG? You ever see that movie? Dude looks like a lady. You know the song. Don't play coy.
I worry about the comments that she gets on YouTube, mostly because it's just totally unnecessary slander for her, and it obviously doesn't feel good to get a bunch of comments calling you a dude or man or whatever.
When I see the hate comments, it makes me frustrated that the trans community is being targeted like this, but honestly, people can go ahead and try to invalidate me, but nobody can validate me as a woman other than me. Today we are going for a walk at the park where we actually had our first date, and we're going to see Chris's mom and his sister. Growing up in a small farming town, you never really know what kind of judgment you might face when you go out. Luckily, his family has always been very supportive of me. People are, I think for the most part, especially everybody in our life, is as open-minded as you, I mean, obviously, but unfortunately there's still a lot of people that aren't, and people that have preconceived notions.
So I didn't really have any problem. And I mean, I think my only reservation, I would say, would be that other people in the family wouldn't be as accepting.
It's sad that we live in a world where someone would be worried that other people are going to.
So they're in, okay, this is White Mountains, Live Free or Die, New Hampshire. And I detected immediately when she started talking, I was like, that is a New England accent. So I guess they're in New Hampshire. This kind of looks like New Hampshire. New Hampshire is fucking gorgeous during the summertime. It's a great place to hang out. Great place to grow up. I grew up predominantly in New Hampshire for most of my life. I don't know why that's relevant to this, but there you go. There you go. We're all sharing.
Reservations towards you simply because you're being who you are. I think they are like the perfect match for one another.
They absolutely are.
They're like the goofiest.
This is the happiest I've ever seen her. Happiest, healthiest, just doing so well.
When I was a young person and I was transitioning, it felt like I was going to be stuck there forever. And it felt like nobody would ever love me. I had people telling me all the time that no one will ever love you. Today, I can happily say I love who I turned out to be. I am a healthy, happy, well-adjusted 22-year-old with a happy, healthy, well-adjusted boyfriend.
You can date somebody who's transgender and not be thought of as a weird person. You know, it's important for me to openly be in a relationship with Victoria so that people can see that it's okay. Of my whole adult life, there was something I was missing the whole time, and I think having Victoria around, I feel like I have a home.
Your whole adult life, you're 23. Pretty Chad move there, Chris. Love don't judge. Oh, there you go. My millionaire boyfriend is 20. People stare because I look super different. I lost 115 pounds. Lots of options there at Truly. But we're on a mission, okay? We cannot be deterred. We cannot be distracted. We have to do it. We have to keep it real. All right. What's next up on the docket? Now, this should be not interesting. It says, do all transgender people think the same? I guess we're going to find out. I have a feeling the answer is going to be no. I have a feeling it's going to be no. What do you guys think at home? Think it's going to be no? No. Yeah, this hair is fucking crazy tonight. So goddamn luscious.
Gender and sex are different, and one doesn't mean the other. Like me having a...
Jesus Christ, guys, get some audio in there, Jubilee, you know? Get them mic'd up. Sounds like they're in a fucking warehouse.
penis does not make me a man, or does not make me less of a woman.
Jubilee presents Spectrum. We invited 6 trans people to see the range of their beliefs and values. Now they fight. I have a feeling the older ones are going to be more traditional. Oh, I'm sorry, Prophet. Fucking new phone didn't even give me the notification. What the fuck? Can't trust these phones. They're trying to suppress me. Suppress NIGHTCAP. They're on to us. There is no escape.
Children are capable of understanding their gender identity. 3,
Fight.
2, 1, go.
Fight.
I was 6 years old, and I have a clear, vivid memory of telling a friend walking down the street, I think I would have been better off born a girl. Mm-hmm. And I had my whole family, like half my family telling me, you can't be that. My friend telling me, you'll never be.
She was also very concerned about gun violence. On the ball, this kid.
Be female, and a therapist tell me like, oh, you'll never look female. Your hands are too big. Your voice is too low. And here I am, very female. Right. So I I'd like to believe that I was right.
Yeah, I know when I was 7, I knew. But at the time, that was a few years ago, and there really wasn't any source of information available. But I knew there was something different about me. So kids know young, and we need to not necessarily say, okay, switch everything over right now, but we need to give them space to grow and understand.
See, that's what I thought. I thought that the older person would be the most conservative, because they're just, all they're saying right now is that, like, some people know when they're very young. But they're not, but they're just like, but we gotta, pump the brakes. And I feel like the younger it gets, the more closely it's gonna skew to like, 7-year-old, put them on hormones, life-changing hormones. Do it, go for it.
What it is.
Gender roles are necessary. 3, 2, 1, go.
Rock and roll McDonald's.
Gender norms and gender constructs, like growing up, they hurt me. They were like, you're a boy, you can't like dress up, you can't.
Immediately personalizing it to their own, tailoring it to specifically to just their experience. Like, we're talking about, this is like a broad society-based question. This is not a question about you specifically. I don't know if you're aware or not, but gender norms, gender roles, or how we have survived as a species. Maybe it is foolhardy just to throw them out the window at the first sign of discomfort.
Can't play with dolls. That just like made me like start to think that I wasn't made correctly or I wasn't right.
My view on gender roles as a whole is very based on my identity because like I'm non-binary. There's no like non-binary gender role, There's like female and male, and then whatever's in between, you just...
We used to call that being a tomboy. Why aren't we loading? What's going on here? It should be good. Should be good, Prophet. Should be good.
Just kind of don't belong. I feel like not belonging, I'm like kind of building my own role, which is kind of weird, but like if it didn't exist at all, I wouldn't have to. No one would have to try and fit. Right. No one would have to build their own role. And that's like a lot of where my view on this like stems from.
Yeah.
I'd like to throw one more thing in about gender roles and how hard I worked for 50 plus years trying to prove to the world I was the most masculine guy in the world. I spent a literal fortune buying every cool toy I could buy so I could go out and off-road better than anybody, fly an airplane better than anybody. I'll give you a hint, it doesn't work. It doesn't change who's inside of you. And so that whole concept of, well, you have to be this kind of a person or you're not whole is just wrong.
It's also a straw man. It's not what people suggest. Like, it is the same thing as what these people experience, right? They want to live their truth. They want to be themselves. For most people, it is just heterodox. It's just the median, the average thing. And they are the exception to the rule. And I don't see why that's a big deal. Like, I don't see why that's a problem. Myself, I don't understand the large movement, the sweeping movement to just like, let's just get rid of all of it. Because you're gonna end up disenfranchising and denying a lot of people. So now we're engaged in right now in a form of social engineering, kind of deconstruct all of these things until people come to the conclusion that they're meaningless. And it'll happen very slowly over the next 20 years.
Well, okay, so as much as the gender roles are hurting by being so constricting, also that constriction is, a lot of that is what kind of helped me understand.
But they're not that constricting because those things are a spectrum, and you're gonna find more dudes that are more feminine, you're gonna find girls that are more masculine, and they don't they don't leave, I guess, the stereotypical version of whatever their gender is supposed to be just because they feel that way. Once you get down into this minutia, that's what I'm talking about, this deconstructionist effort, is that it just like it's just there to not matter anymore. But like I said, you're just disenfranchising large swaths of people by engaging in that, in my opinion.
My trans identity. So the roles that are there, I didn't create them, but it exists. It exists. And I don't want it to exist in some of the ways that it does, but it does. Do I believe this should be widened? Yeah. So that's really what I've come to.
Gender reassignment surgery is necessary to be transgender.
Hard disagree. Everybody here. No, wait. Not going to be everybody. They're going to throw us for a little bit of a loop. There's going to be some people, there's going to be at least one, maybe, at least one, that is somewhat disagree. Let's see.
3, 2, 1, go.
And I'll go slightly here. There we go. But it depends on the...
Oh, Shaun, you're too good. You nailed it. And, of course, we have the older trans person here who's going to have more of a conservative view of the situation. Because to them, in the old-fashioned sense, that was the whole point, was to literally transition to the other gender, not be some amorphous, genderless, sexless being.
The person. It very much depends
Oh,
on the
100%.
person. For me, it was kind of important. You know, it was just kind of the finishing step kind of thing. But a lot of people don't need it. The social transitions, the personal transitions and things that are much more important to people than the medical transition. But other people need that as a very important step to start their transition or finish their transition.
Before you have surgery, before you have hormones, before you tell anybody, and maybe even before like you really have a grasp of like what it is you're experiencing, you can already be your gender. My gender was female from the point that I, as a child, developed a sense of gender. I still get asked like, oh, like when you had your surgery, do you feel like a woman now? And I was like, not any more than I did last week.
Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah. For me, I could definitely like go without it and still be 100% happy, 100% like confident as a woman. But I think it's just kind of like a cherry on top and like what eventually I'm gonna need to like
So being in the hard disagree category, Lila, I feel like you're kind of stretching it here. You wanted the clout, you wanted the cred for being a hard disagree, but you're really a somewhat disagree. If I was working at Jubilee, I'd be like, get over on that other fucking line. Get the fuck over there.
complete the whole circle.
Being physically female is not even in like the top 10 things that make me feel like a woman. Like me having a penis does not make me a man or does not make me less of a woman.
It's interesting to look at this. The young folk, the old...
See, it does not make me less of a woman. Like, you don't get to have... You're not living the female experience. Period. No pun intended. But period. End of story. You're just not. And the feminine experience is worth protecting, I suppose, in a way, right? Through art, through whatever. Like, we explore these things constantly. But it has a role, and that's how we can, come together as people and learn about each other. And if none of it matters anymore, and again, I have to bring this up because we've talked about this subject a few times, but you see anybody like really giving a fuck about, like, you see the dudes talking about this at all? There's one female to male transgender person, and then there's one non-binary person, which is just just needy people, I suppose. Like, really? You got to be part of it too, huh? Because you don't dress a certain way? But anyways, men don't give a shit about this subject at all in terms of, like, female to male. They don't care. It doesn't change their life. It doesn't change anything about the way they experience reality. But when you have, like, a cabal of people literally trying to erase the concept of being a woman because of insecurity, forms of psychosis, that seems like a bad thing to me. And a lot of people are like, oh, you're a TERF. You're a TERF. If you're an adult, you can do whatever the fuck you want, as far as I'm concerned. But that does not give you the right to make demands and dictate how other people are supposed to live their lives. And these things are prescriptive, what they're talking about. It's not like some bland, blasé thing. There's entire charities and groups and activist organizations that are all about this. And they are more and more pervasive as time goes on. They infect everything. It was the last week. If you want to see last week's episode entitled Proud, you have to head over to our Odyssey channel. Look us up there at Zoobox. And like, you know, it's in children's programming. These concepts, these ideas, this erasure. I don't know. I'm not a fan, especially when you go after kids. Just because most kids, maybe some of these people are exceptions to the rule, but the vast majority of children cannot conceptualize or understand what they are seeing. Just like they can't with anything, really, at 6 or 7.
And that's what I've seen through the years, is that it's less and less important to the young transgender people, but it still needs to be available.
Dating is difficult for me. 3, 2, 1, go.
Dating is very hard. The only kind of people that I attract are people that want to like fetishize trans people. So they'll be like, you're so hot. I want to do this and this and this with you. But then I'm like,
yeah, but that's how dudes just act about anybody and women. You know, you ever meet like a really hot chick? She seems like she's game. You're talking her up at the bar. That's what you want. That's what you're thinking about. Complete objectification. It has nothing to do. We're just talking about like hookups, right? That's what it is. You fetishize somebody. You're trying to get in them drawers and do the things that you dream about, you fantasize about. That's what hookups are for. So, but I mean, in fairness to them, they are talking about dating, not hooking up. But I still think my point is valid. It stands.
oh, but like, let's go out in public. Let's like go to dinner or something. They're like, ooh, I don't know about all that. Like, I don't want my friends to know I'm dating someone like you. And it's like, they feel like they have to come out as well as someone who's attracted to like a trans person.
I agree. It's confusing.
You take her to the Taco Bell. Real classy. Get her a Cruncherita or whatever the fuck it's called.
For them, if they say like, oh, so am I like gay or something like that? And it's like, no, because I am attracted to straight men and like straight men are like attracted to me. Do you know what I mean?
Right, right. Like liking penis and liking vagina like doesn't make you gay or straight. It's like liking a man or liking a woman makes you gay or straight.
Fact check. Wrong. I'm not saying it makes you gay, but like, you know, genital preference, as it is now referred to today, and I'm not sure how old this is. It might be from a couple years ago. Genital preference is part of the conversation. And there are some people that would call you a big old bigot for saying, like, you don't want to suck a trans woman's dick. I've seen it. It's out there. It's out there.
Exactly.
It's a little weird being like not a part of the binary, so people are really like, so what am I? What are you? Like, what is this?
Where do we fit together?
Yeah, it's kind of like, I think I like you, but I don't know what I like. What is this? I'm like, if you like, then take.
Do we think this is a lesbian person? I don't want to make any snap judgments. Seems like it's a strong possibility, though.
You know?
They just want to like put like a label on everything.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
sometimes
I
we
think-
don't need that.
I
you
just
know?
think people need to stop with like, oh, I'm attracted to men, or like, oh, this. It's like, no, you're attracted to like a human being. You're attracted to a person.
There are risks to being transgender. 3.
They're gonna all agree.
1, go.
See, always gonna be somewhat. Always the older person. Maybe it's the years, the mileage makes them wise. I don't know, but I expected this pretty strong, especially how it's going. Especially these four here. They're all about strongly agreeing, strongly disagreeing, and then kind of softening their comments as they're asked questions.
Transitioning is dangerous.
Yeah,
Transitioning
100%.
is not easy. Like I've been beaten, I've had death threats, I've had sexual assault. Someone threatened me of that. And I'm privileged in this community because of my race or because I transitioned.
Thank you, Prophet. I appreciate it, buddy. I can hear you. You're here. I hear you.
Younger. And the biggest problem is that trans women of color are the ones being murdered in this country. Like trans people of color are the ones at risk. And this is the real issue that people need to know about. But like, it is totally worth it because there's no life outside of this.
That's definitely real. That's real. So the fear of violence from others, yes, that's a risk. But I don't know. There's risks playing the stock market.
I mean, this is a passing person. I wouldn't fuck with this dude. Looks like he'd kick my ass. I wonder. I don't know. Unless if you're out saying that you are, it doesn't mean that you should be attacked by any stretch of the imagination. But I wonder if it's if this person advertises their trans male nature or not. Because if you were just to meet this person in a bar, I feel like it'd be pretty convincing.
There's a risk when you eat that McDonald's. Everything's a risk, nowadays. But I feel like what's really worth it was my mental health. That's not a risk I'm willing to take because that's the real death.
That's the rub.
I love my body. 3, 2, 1, go.
Yeah, we'll go off for it. Now, in my case, I really agree because this is the body I got. And one of the biggest things I did for myself was all during my cross-dressing days. I used to put on all the crazy foundation wear, trying to squeeze myself into something that I didn't fit in. And I looked at myself one day and I said, you look as good as X number of regular women. Have I made a few changes? Yes, but that doesn't change the fact that I love who I am and what my physical presence is.
It's just so hard. It's so hard because being told women have this and women look like this and women, and it's then I don't look like that. So I must hate my body then because my body is what keeps me from looking like a woman. But then I
thank you for the
get
follow,
out
Arma.
of that toxic mindset and I'm just wait. I am a woman.
I wish I had said strongly agree, but that's not the truth. And the truth is that I love my mind.
See, this is what it always comes down to. It always comes down to dudes. Just the concept of calling somebody a woman is an affront to them. It's an affront to them. The idea that yes, women do have particular biologies that creates a very particular lived experience, if you will.
Love my life, but there are days that I have where my self-esteem issues are so bad that I can't leave the room. And I almost didn't even go to my college graduation because I was I'm not female enough to graduate college or something. And all that being said, I have no regrets. That was the thing. Because if I hadn't transitioned, I just wouldn't have a life at all.
Sometimes I wish I wasn't transgender.
Well, this is an interesting one. I think we're going to run the gamut here. I think we're going to get a broad spectrum of opinion here. Let's see. I don't know. I feel like it's going to be pretty broad. It's going to be pretty spread out.
3, 2, 1, go.
Literally me. Literally.
Hang on.
No.
Shaun, you've done it again. You've done it again. Good thing I wore a collared shirt today. Very professional. Very fucking cool.
I often have told people that, this is not something I would wish purposefully on my worst enemy. It's not pleasant. You go through all sorts of interesting changes. It cost me my spouse that I love dearly, but it was so important to me that it had to happen that I'm pleased that I did it. It's the best thing I've ever done in my life, but it's also something I'd never wish on anybody else on purpose.
For me, it's I'm disagreeing because it's not the fact that I'm trans that I don't like. It's the discrimination that I face that I don't like. The intersections that I hold, being black, being trans.
This looks like a modern Street Fighter character with the boots and everything. Could really kick some ass. You know? Up, down. Low punch, uppercut, back.
Trans, you know, you find like discrimination comes at you in different ways. And so that's really what I could do without.
Yeah, I think the main thing that I just like hate, like everyone else is saying, is the discrimination, because it's the fact that like, oh, if I'm in a certain situation, or oh, I'm somewhere, like I have to worry about my safety for like literally being like who I am in that sense. And it's like nobody should have to worry about like whether they're gonna like make it through something just for like being themselves.
So true.
Obviously, I don't think this will ever like go away fully, but as I was like coming out, it like, I would like have times where I was like, God, I wish I wasn't like this. Like, I wish I wasn't trans, because then like my life would be easier. I wish I was born a woman, or I wish that I was just like comfortable being male. And then I realized that like if I was born a female, like I wouldn't be a part of the LGBTQ community. I wouldn't have gone through the struggles that I have.
Yeah, you get this extra place. It is different. I mean, this is like a self-refuting statement in terms of what they had said before about the concept of what a woman is and what it means to be a woman. This person totally understands that is not the case. It is a different experience. It is a different category. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it is different. So to suggest that it is like that it doesn't matter when it's convenient for you, a little disingenuous in my opinion.
I've gone through, and like I would be a completely different person, and I love who I am, and so I don't think I would want to change that. And I'm proud to be trans.
Time for the Gina selfie. Everybody on this side of me, please.
I love that, yeah.
Gina loves her selfies.
Hey guys, I'm Michael.
And I'm Jason.
Thank you so much for watching.
All right, well, that was that little tidbit there. So, do all trans people think the same? Do they? Kind of. Relative to that video, kind of. Not a lot of there was no hard disagreements. But I suppose that they really can't have hard disagreements, because it kind of would undermine the idea of you being yourself no matter what, you know? So now we got another one. Being with a trans girl, boyfriend's perspective. This is from a YouTuber. This is a trans YouTuber. What is their channel? Let's give their channel a shout. Matilda Hogberg. Hogberg. That's a fucking last name right there. I like it. I'm just going to steal that. I'm going to steal that for something in the future. Matilda Hogberg. We're going to have to go with like Frank Hogberg. He's an ambulance chasing attorney. There you go. It's all happening live, folks. All in front of us. Hello, hi, hi, hi. Here we go.
Hi guys, it's Matilda, obviously, and you know that because you're on my channel, and today I'm here with my boyfriend.
Yeah.
Hi.
And today I'm going to ask him a bunch of questions regarding...
You know, like, legit, just to put it out on Front Street, never would have guessed. Never would have guessed. Never would have guessed.
Regarding what it means with me being trans. So you've seen the title. It's called...
It kind of looks like Abby Shapiro a little bit. You guys know Abby Shapiro? Benjamin Shapiro's sister? The Jewish American princess? Kind of looks like her a little bit.
Being with a trans girl partner's perspective. And he's the
partner.
Yes, shocking, right? Shocking. So I will ask him a bunch of questions, as I said.
Hogberg. So are they like Swedish or something. I'm detecting an accent here.
10 questions, and some of these questions I have asked before, and some of these questions I haven't asked before, so you know. We will see where this will lead. But anyways, before we get into this video, don't forget to follow me on my socials. They're all down below. Fun time. And also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It's also down below. You really help me, girly.
Just vague European. Fun time.
Oh, by clicking that subscribe button. So thank you so much. But now, let's get into all of these questions.
Holdberg.
So I have all of the questions here on my phone. There are 10 questions, and if you guys are not really sure how long we've been together...
Come on. I mean, we just explained this. I don't need to explain it again. Look at him. He's dying over here. He's like, can we just start the fucking questions? The videos? Who edits this stuff? I wonder who's her producer. Do you think she does it all herself? Or do you think he has some sort of say? Just like Blair White, her boyfriend. He does all the editing. Kind of just locked in a room. Are you done on that fucking video yet? Almost, sweetheart. Almost.
Or how we met. I have a video regarding that. I can put it here. Yes. They're on the screen there. And we have been together for 7 years. So
that's a long time. 7 years, that ain't nothing to slouch at. If that's a turn of phrase. I mean, 7 years, that's a long time. That's a long fucking time, dude. I mean, I've been together with my wife for 8, going on 9 years. So yeah, I guess it's meant to be.
First question. Did you know what being transgender meant before meeting me?
Loosely. I knew what it meant. I wasn't very...
Familiar?
Right, I wasn't very familiar with the whole topic, but I knew what it meant. I knew a couple of people knew. I had some Facebook friends that were also trans.
Really good friends.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I knew who they were.
Yeah, exactly.
We weren't friends.
Yeah, I understand.
I knew sort of what it was.
Yeah.
But I wasn't too deep into the subject.
Deep. Yeah. Okay, so when I told you that I was transgender, you kinda understood that it meant that I was born a male, and then I transitioned into...
I knew...
Yeah, he's not a moron. Maybe he didn't understand the culture surrounding it, but he's not a fucking idiot. Although maybe he is. Maybe we'll be proven wrong. Maybe she's just used to over-explaining everything to him.
What it meant,
Yeah, okay. Okay, so second question. When I told you that I was transgender, you didn't really care.
No.
How did you feel about it after our conversation? Did you research it, or did you just like move on without ever thinking about it?
No, well, it was a long time ago, so I don't, really remember the specifics, but probably did some research. Like I read up a bit on the, like on exactly what it meant. And
he's like, did she get surgery? Did she not get surgery? You know?
The different aspects of it all.
Yeah, but you didn't...
But generally speaking, I didn't really care that much.
You didn't really care that much,
No.
but right...
He said ass is ass. Hot ass is hot ass. He's like, who am I to judge?
After our conversation, because like I told you via social media, and right after, and you just like went offline, did you just like move on? Or
no, I mean, the next couple of days after you told me.
You thought about it?
Yeah, I mean, I thought about it a bit, and as I said, did some minor research.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a great answer. Okay, so third question. How do you feel now with me being openly transgender on YouTube and like in the public eye and all of that?
I think it's great. I mean, you're educating people. You're spreading a message. You're trying to make people more accepting of the whole movement.
See, he knows how to answer this question. That's like a girl asking him if, do you think I look fat in this? He's just like, I think you look fucking beautiful. I think you're the best. I think you're a fucking hero.
Yeah, that's
so
me.
I think it's great. It's fantastic.
Okay, so you don't have any like problem with it whatsoever?
No.
How did you feel when I came out? Like the day that I told you that I wanted to come out? Because like I've been on morning shows here in Sweden, and that's kind of a big deal because like a lot of people see that. You weren't like hesitant at all when I wanted to come out like in the public eye?
No, I don't think so. Like I remember the day that you came out, like in the newspaper, we were at a spa.
Yeah.
In the morning.
Story time.
Yeah. And I was like, yeah, whatever. It's gonna go great. Like, no problem.
Yeah.
But you were so nervous.
Oh my god, I know. I had such butterflies like the entire day and like stomach aches almost. I was so nervous. It was kind of good that we were at the spa because like I was all over the place, honey.
And you could just relax. Go have a soak.
I was like all over the place.
Yeah.
So
you were. I was like, yeah, whatever. It's gonna be fine.
Yeah.
It's just chill.
Yeah, I was really nervous. But fourth question, how did your family react?
They didn't really mind either. I mean, they knew you and they loved you before they knew.
Yeah.
So when I
So they hoodwinked him. They hoodwinked him. Not really. But kind of.
told them, they, it didn't really change anything.
The old rope-a-dope.
No. No, I'm sorry.
Spill the tea afterwards. No, yeah. He knew right from the start, like right from the get-go. I told him 5 minutes in, and
yeah, you were very upfront about it.
Yeah, I was very upfront. However, his family didn't actually know until much later. He told them when I wasn't there, so that's why I'm asking. Like, I want to know. I want to know that
they didn't change anything.
Yeah. Okay. That's great. Okay, so number 5. Do you ever think that it's more difficult being with me than being with someone that's cis? Like a negative with me being transgender?
I mean, difficulties? I don't know. There's...
Arm wrestling.
I mean, certain aspects, like the gender dysphoria.
Yeah.
I know is obviously very hard for you from time to time, and I try to be there for you. It's not something that I try to let affect our relationship, and I don't really think it does.
No.
To such an extent, and also the fact that we won't be having biological children.
Yes, that's also negative.
Yeah, well, negative. I don't know. That doesn't really matter to me.
No.
If we adopt.
No.
I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
I don't know, so those are basically the two biggest things, I guess. But
yeah,
it's
those
not
are
really...
the negatives with me being trans, and I mean those are the
negatives.
Those are the negatives for me. I mean they are negatives for me. I would much rather have biological children than adopt. Like if I had a choice. However, I don't. So that's a negative. And the gender dysphoria, I know that sometimes it can be a bit much for someone that really don't get it. I mean, some days are totally fine. I'm like, honey, I'm so cute today. I love myself. And then the other day,
and he's like, stop. You do not. That's the negatives of dating that guy.
I'm like, I'm so disgusting. I look like a man, and you're like, no.
I can't relate, and I'm not like gonna pretend that I know what you're going through, but I try to,
Yeah.
be somewhat comforting.
Yeah.
Just be a cool guy. He's giving all the right answers. She's loving it. She's creaming, as some say.
Yeah, so those are the negatives. Okay, so number 6, the positives with having a trans partner.
I'd say for me, a positive is
moving furniture.
Through you, I've learned so much about this topic.
Yeah.
That I most likely wouldn't have learned otherwise.
Yeah.
At least not to this extent.
That's true.
So that's good.
The real question is, I guess I would ask, is that if they didn't work out, if they broke up, now is he really just attracted to trans people now? Trans women specifically? Is that just his thing now? I wonder. I'm curious about that. I don't know. I don't know if there's any stories out there of somebody that dated a trans person and then dated a cis-normative person after the fact. I don't know. I feel like it is a particular thing, a particular taste, a particular attraction, whatever you want to call it. But hey, I'm just a guy in a sweet Hawaiian shirt. What do I know?
Good.
I'm pretty educational.
You are though.
Yeah, I guess that's a positive.
Yeah, I think so.
I educate you daily. Yeah, I mean, I guess that there aren't really any more positives. Sad life. Yeah, but
isn't that a good thing, right? It's like the flattening of that curve of the differences. They're marginal for this couple, so that should be a good thing. The only thing he gets from it, specifically because she's a trans person, Matilda, is that he learns about trans people. He learns what it's like, their daily routines, what they go through, etc., etc.
Honestly, like, though in our daily lives we don't really discuss the fact that I'm trans. I mean, it doesn't really affect our lives that much.
So I don't know. That's kind of what I mean. There aren't really any huge negatives or positives.
Yeah, it's just kind of the same.
It's just kind of the same.
Yeah, like for instance, me not being able to bear my own offspring. There are plenty of cisgender women out there that are infertile. So
yeah, so that like wouldn't really.
You're not even sure that you can. You're not even 100% sure that you can have biological.
See, no, I know what they're doing. This is a rationalization. Saying, oh, the outliers, they exist. Maybe you're one of them. Maybe I would have been one of them. But again, it's this kind of appeal to the exception. As it being it's just a thing. Just a thing.
Children. It isn't really that big of a difference being with me than it would being with a cisgender person. Okay, so numbers.
No, it's a pretty big difference. That's a pretty big difference. Just, biologically being able to bear children, as if they were talking about before. And then go down a rabbit hole of like, not everybody could do that. So I suppose if you frame it, if you contextualize it in the way that they just did, as being like, well, if you're with a trans woman, that's like being with a sterile, cis-normative woman. Seems like a little bit of a stretch. Because there is no amount of therapy or procedure or anything that will ever change that for Matilda. If you're a biological woman, there are avenues. There are things you can do. Therapies you can engage with.
7. Do you have any funny or awkward stories that resulted due to the fact of me being transgender?
The one that comes to mind is when we were at your parents' place once, and they were like sort of a party, and there were a lot of people there.
Oh yeah, yeah. I know. I know exactly.
And they only had standing urinals, no toilets, and Matilda had to go.
We're there. It was not really a problem, but then we left early, I think.
Yeah.
And we found out like later in the evening or the day after from your sister who stayed behind. who stayed later.
Yeah.
That one of the guests had been like asking.
Not like one of the guests, all of the guests.
Okay, all of the guests had been asking questions about like, but okay, how did they have? How did they do it? Like.
Yeah. Oh my God, it was so awkward.
It's so.
They asked plenty of weird questions, like really.
Not that weird. Not that weird, especially if there's a bunch of people that are unfamiliar with the subject. This is like one of the problems I have, I suppose, with a lot of the activists or the more outspoken people, is that they just they take general, normal misunderstandings or people that just don't know. They're going to ask those kinds of questions. Those are the first things that come into their minds. It's really not. And if you feel like you're a person that's supposed to educate and is supposed to do whatever, then you should see it as an opportunity, I guess. Not, these fucking bigots. Ain't gonna Ain't gonna win anybody there. You're gonna catch a lot more bees with honey than vinegar. As I'm sure someone famous once said.
Really uncomfortable questions that was like, you have like, that is really inappropriate, and people people don't ask questions like that. Like, they broke several social boundaries with asking those questions, and they didn't even ask them to us. When we were there, they were so delightful and sweet and nice and like really respectful, but the moment we left, they started asking really inappropriate questions to my mother and to my sisters, and it was really weird. Like, really, really weird. So yes,
that's not weird. I can understand it being awkward, but it's not weird. And I feel like in a different moment, you talk to this person, you talk to Matilda, and she would probably affirm that it's not that weird, that people are curious, that people don't know.
Definitely.
Yeah, so that's the one that comes to mind.
Yes. Absolutely. Okay, so next question. What do you think of not having biological children? We kind of touched on this.
Yeah, I mean, we touched on that on the previous question.
Yeah.
And to me, that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like having biological...
I know, it's really...
Biological children or adopting, it doesn't make a difference to me.
No, not...
See, I wonder how like entrenched this person is in the ideological kind of movement of being trans. Because they're using the term biological children. And generally, especially nowadays in the past couple of years, saying anything is biological is kind of a no-no.
Much of a difference, yeah. No. So that's your opinion.
Yeah.
That's your... Okay, so last and final question for today. And this is an incredibly broad question. Like, it's really, really broad.
Okay.
Overall, how has it been being with a trans girl?
Oh, I wonder how he's going to answer this question. I wonder.
I know, it's really, really broad.
Good guy Sven over here? Come on now.
However, how has it been?
I mean, as I mentioned earlier, I don't really think it's affected our relationship that much.
No.
There are no huge negatives or positives that affect our day-to-day basis. And in general, I think our relationship is very good. We're good together.
Yeah.
Things are fine. I don't, you know.
Yeah, it's not really that much of a difference being with me than it would being with a cisgender woman, because I've had all of the surgeries and everything like that, and we don't talk about it that much because, like, what is it to talk about?
Yeah, I mean,
it comes up when I talk about YouTube or when I have gender dysphoria or children. Those are times when we talk about the fact that I'm trans. However, on our day-to-day...
No, like on our day-to-day basis, we've talked about it, like, in the past. There's not much more to say.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Not like when we're eating breakfast, like, you know.
I'm trans!
Oh, right. Yeah, you're trans, so...
Yeah, that would be weird. Yeah, I know it's an incredibly broad question, but just, like, I want...
Sips his coffee. I guess so.
To have, like, to
but
summarize
like you said, I don't think there's, you know, much difference from being with a cis girl.
No. But yeah, I think that was all of the questions, or I know that was all of the questions for today. And if you liked his answers, please hit that like button to...
Oh, okay. We got it. We get it. So, relative to the questions that her family members were asking, how do they get it on? Let's see here. We got a video here called "What is Sex Like for Trans Women?" Sex Ed. Another hit from Jubilee. Oh, this should be interesting. We got chapter headings such as, what is your sexual orientation? At what point do you disclose to potential partners? Are orgasms better after transition? How often do people fetishize you? Probably all the time. I can only guess. I can only imagine. Like I said, I've seen videos. I don't partake, though. So what the fuck do I know? Just a cool guy in a fucking sweet-ass Hawaiian shirt. Hey now. Hiring, guys. You know, I've watched so many Jubilee videos on NIGHTCAP. I should probably submit a resume. But guys, I'm very familiar with your material. Really like to work on the production side. Everyone in this video was tested for COVID-19 prior to filming. Stay safe and thanks for watching.
When I was pre-op, the orgasms were good. But honey, when I got that vagina...
Jesus Christ. Their most burning questions. The audience was asked their most burning questions about sex with trans women.
How do you have sex? Are you able to have penetrative sex? I am a post-op.
Yeah, and always were. You got a butt, don't you? You got a boy pussy, as many a preacher call it.
Trans woman, so that means that I have undergone vaginoplasty, which is a form of reconstructive surgery, and that allows me to be able to have vaginal intercourse.
It's actually really weird, like having sex with a vagina, obviously, because I went 22 years of my life without one. Every single time I'm like, oh my God, what if it hurts? Or like, what if it breaks? Or what if I like have to get another surgery or something?
Personally, I am... Yeah, just totally a natural female experience. What if it breaks? I mean, I'm sure some girls feel that way. Again, I've seen videos. Giant dongs. You're like, what is going on here? What the fuck? And then you jerk off and you come and, you know, and then you go feel bad about yourself for 5 minutes and then you go about your day.
I'm pre-op, so I haven't had a vaginoplasty and I don't plan on getting one probably until I decide to have children. Just because I don't really have like gender dysphoria as much like down there. It doesn't really bother me as much. I do the penetrating, I guess.
What is your sexual orientation? If you have a partner now, how do they identify? I'm straight. I am married to a heterosexual cis male.
I would say straight because I am attracted to men, and the men that are attracted to me also, they would consider them straight because they see a female.
I used to ride the train from Leominster to Cambridge with somebody, a woman, a cis woman, that looked just like this. Just like this. It's taking me back to the train. God damn it. 4:30 in the morning. Have to get up to be at the train station at 5:15 to take the train in to get to work at 7. Fucking miserable. I was not good at it.
Female in me.
A lot of men are scared to date trans women because they're scared of being gay.
I would be just afraid of you, just in general. Nothing to do with trans people. You, specifically. I would be intimidated. I would be afraid. Like, what do they want to do? Whoa, what's going on here? In the same way I was afraid as a young boy in my early 20s. Aggressive punk rock chicks. I was in a band. An aggressive band groupie types. Just trying to grab my dick. Stick their tongues down my throat at every turn. Man couldn't even have a drink at a bar. Band wasn't even that good. But I look good in those fucking sweet pants I used to wear. Tell you that much.
In the eyes of other men. I don't have muscles, I don't have hairy legs. I have nothing that would attract a gay man to me, you know? So I don't consider my partner gay.
As it stands now, I would identify as pan or bi. So
this Pan's Labyrinth. Pan or bi? Okay.
I'm still married to my cisgender wife. We were married before my transition. The vagina is still something that I am exploring and open to. It isn't my number one preference, but I recognize that my wife's number one preference wasn't, at the time, having a wife.
At what point do you disclose to your potential partners that you're trans? It's such a touchy subject because a lot of girls disagree with me, but I believe that your first conversation, point blank.
I wouldn't want...
Good for you. I take back everything I said. Over here, good guy Shaun being bad guy Shaun. Judgmental. Being a dick. Don't judge a book by its cover. Another lesson learned on NIGHTCAP.
Want to talk to somebody, like have feelings for them, and then they find out that I'm trans and they're not into it, which is totally fine because, you know, it's not everyone's cup of tea and you can't be mad at somebody because they're not into you. But I definitely think that before you do anything sexual with somebody, you need to disclose that you're trans.
Well, especially if you're going to peg them. Well, peg them. Peg them. As this person said. Although you got to wonder. A lot of trans women are lesbian. Seems like a little bit of a cheat.
That is like a number one thing.
So before my surgery, I think it was a little more important. I would literally be with a guy and just like get caught up in the moment.
No, somebody's had some rhinoplasty or something going on here. There's something going on with that nose. Is that just skin? Or maybe that's just part of the surgery they had.
I think he's like so perfect, so amazing. And then I was like, wait, like, I have to tell you something. And now having a vagina, I've like fully had sex with people and like just not even told them. They just like don't know. When guys get upset when they find out you're trans, it's honestly based off their own insecurities of like, oh, I find so-and-so attractive. Oh, she used to be a boy. Oh my God. If you're attracted to me, if you literally just had sex with me, it doesn't matter. Like who I was born as, like I'm not that person anymore.
Have you ever feared for your safety while pursuing a hookup?
I'm going to say yes. I'm going to go out on a limb and say yes.
I was hooking up with a lot of people without telling them I was trans. I had an instance one time where I was hooking up with a guy and one of my friends at the time, who I thought was my best friend, told him after I hooked up with him. And he—
Wait, this is a pre-op person. So this person still has a penis. I'm sorry for the unflattering freeze frame there. So how the fuck did they not know? After the hookup. Is it just like a makeout hookup? Is that a thing? If you make out with somebody, do you say that you hooked up with that person? I never did. I don't know. I wouldn't qualify that as a hookup. I would qualify it as promising for the future. Oh, thank you for the ice cream, Big Paul. I appreciate it, my friend. Thanks for stopping by, buddy.
He lived in the same apartment building as me, and it was not good. Him and his like friends starting to beat my ass. I literally had to move out of my apartment because I was scared, like literally for my life.
Well, I do sleep with like a bat and a knife for sure. Like I've thought to myself, like, shit, do I have to grab my knife? I have been in bars where I've had guns put up to my head here.
Now, Big Paul says, trust me, you never know until it's too late. Now, we have a mutual acquaintance, or we did in the past, where that was very much the case. Granted, at a gay bar.
Here in California.
Honestly, a couple months ago, I was with this guy and it was just going really good. Didn't expect to like hook up with him or anything. But then one thing led to another. Obviously, didn't tell him I was trans because I didn't expect to hook up with him. He was like, oh, was like Lila your birth name? And like started like asking very like weird questions. And he was like, oh, your vagina like looks new. I didn't know where it was gonna go. I was like, what if he like drugs me or something?
Your vagina looks new. I would say, this person, they're talking about like, oh, the things that went on in their head. Is this a psycho? Is this a predator? Probably if somebody tells you like your vagina looks new, either that or they just know and they're trying to get you to tell them. Who can say?
Smothers me or literally kills me because it happens all the time. You have to be so careful. And so I was like, oh, this is a really unsafe situation. Like I have to go.
Are orgasms better after your transition? When you're more comfortable with your
Oh, Lord, yes. It's going to be a lot of yeses.
Body, yes. Orgasms are better.
When I was pre-op, the orgasms were good. But honey, when I got that vagina, it feels so nice to just be able to just let her just flow. Just let it flow.
I think now that I'm on like hormone pills, my libido went from here to like here.
When you're on hormones for so long, it does a lot to your reproductive organs. So you don't produce sperm and your sex drive goes down a lot. I almost went like a year without having sex just because I really was like not feeling well about myself because I was still in kind of like that beginning phase where I felt like I really wasn't a full woman yet.
My sex life with my partner has improved since my transition. It can be magical and epically more romantic and epically more, because I'm so much more engaged. I was never able to be fully.
So this person said that they're still with their spouse, before the spouse they had before their transition, and that they're not a giant fan of a vag. So do they have an open relationship? This has not been disclosed. This has not been disclosed. We don't know.
Fully engaged with almost anything across the spectrum of life, not just sex, before I came out. It's much better, much more beautiful.
How often do you encounter people who fetishize you?
All the time. It's going to be all the time. I would imagine that's probably the vast majority of people that like approach a trans woman openly at a bar or something like that. Probably going to do that. Although, like I said before, I think men in general, if they're talking about men here, I suppose, just fetishize women in general, like especially when they're at bars, hookup situations, you know?
Very often they go instantly into like, oh, like, do you like the top? You know, can I give you oral?
There's always random people who will Instagram DM you, Twitter DM you.
Been so many people who were like, oh my God, do you have a dick? Or like blah, 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 and think it was like so hot and stuff like that. And it's like, baby, I'm not a fetish. And like, that's what so many people like think, or they're like, oh, I'm not into.
Yeah, I'm not a fetish. I have this top on, but I am not a fetish. Do not objectify me. Don't do it.
That, and it's like, into what? You're not into girls? Like it's like not something to be into. It's just like, are you attracted to me or not?
When you have sex, do you ever struggle with feelings of dysphoria? Yes.
Yes, everybody's going to say yes.
I do. My voice and my face for making out, and sometimes my stubble, you know, I haven't had laser hair removal. There's certain surgeries, facial feminization and things like that I still haven't had. I don't feel dysphoric about my genitalia. A lot of trans people do. I don't. I like that part of my body.
I know a lot of trans women are very like against their parts, and you know, because mentally they're women, right? Well, this is me, trans woman. You know, I'm not mentally a woman. I don't want ovaries. I don't want a vagina. You know, so I like using my penis.
Again, this is another person that is like destroying the argument of the erasure of the concept of femininity. Like, once you acknowledge that it is a different category, it is a different experience, then you can't at the same time then say like, well, you know, we're just gonna, this is all that there is. It doesn't matter, because it does matter, and it matters to them. That's what's so frustrating about all of this shit, all of this conversation. Like, just if the whole point is just be you, just be yourself, then that has to come with some sort of confidence that doesn't require you to erase the concept of a binary, because you don't exist in the binary. And that's fine. That's fucking fine. This is a too reasonable person.
To have sex, for sure.
It's so important oftentimes as a trans woman to feel that we need to be the prettiest, we need to be the thinnest, we need to be the curviest, just so we can even feel less dysphoric.
Early on, I remember.
Yeah, that's because that's the whole point. It's about transitioning to be the other gender. So you have to have, and you are encouraged to, and you want to have all of the social identifiers that are associated with that. That's just the fucking way it is. But anyways, like I said, just a cool guy in a Hawaiian shirt. What do I know?
I remember she even asked if it was possible for me to sometimes, you know, role play like the role of a guy, even just for like almost like dress up. I think she was just coming to terms with the loss of that. I was just very honest and said no, because I'll be in tears by the end of that.
Was sex talked about in your home growing up?
No. There was no sex talked about in my home.
I grew up in Montgomery, Alabama, so very deep Bible Belt South. So
You know, this is a common thing too, that people that come from kind of what you would think of as like salt of the earth or kind of more conservative areas. A lot of the most outspoken trans people, at least that I've come across, especially even tonight, a lot of them are from way more conservative areas than you would imagine. It's not, you know, it's not from like a metropolitan area where everybody accepts everybody for everything, no matter what. And to me, in a way, I think that legitimizes the idea of being trans. Like that is a thing, that gender dysphoria is a real thing that occurs in people, no matter where you're from, no matter the type or the strength of the acceptance. Like that's a real thing. So when it gets so diluted and it gets put out there and then activist groups like kind of glom onto it, and the crazier ones get the loudest voices, they have the microphones, they have the bullhorns, it does a disservice to everybody across every spectrum, in my opinion.
sex was not talked about at home, and I actually had sex at 13.
Asian people, they have like this like strict rule, and like also the way that they want their sons to grow up as. So if they're growing up trans, like it's kind of a big no-no. I told myself, and I made a promise to myself, that I won't transition medically until my mom like fully accepts me. Yeah, she disowned me for like 5 years. I just wanted that path for me. I know that a lot of trans girls would be like, Zyla, you need to take hormones right away or else you're gonna turn into an old man. But for me, I wanted to do it my way. I mean, now we're like...
And that's that Asian connection, right? Like that's what Asian people are really all about, family a lot of times, and about the acceptance of family. There's a sense of loyalty and responsibility. And there you go. I don't know why that's relevant, but it is somehow.
Best friends, and like she buys me underwear and like bras and stuff, so.
Is it transphobic if I want to wait for sex until my partner gets further into her transition?
Oh.
What are they going to say? I think it's going to be split. Some people are totally going to be like, yeah, that's transphobic. And the other one's going to be like, nah, well, you know, there's gradations there. It's like Mac. You know, you ever watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia? Well, you know, Mac had that same experience. Some say maybe he waited too long.
Oh, that's a tricky one.
There's no issue with wanting to wait, and you need to definitely communicate that, because it really sucks for someone to have to wait and expect something and it never comes. And then for also them to have to feel that you really don't desire them at all.
No, I don't think that's transphobic. I think honestly certain things, especially sexually with pre-op trans women, is I guess just your like own opinion and your own preference, I guess. Like certain things.
These are some pretty based trans women. I don't know when this was filmed. I can't imagine it was this. Well, no, they said at the top they were all COVID-19 tested, so it's definitely current. But these are some pretty based trans ladies.
Things make you uncomfortable, that's one thing. But if you genuinely like, don't want to have sex with them, then it's like, why are you together? Why are you talking? Like,
it's a conditional kind of love. It's like you don't view them as female or male until they're completely transitioned, which is not fair. If you can't love me at this point, you can't love me at this point, you know?
Again, somebody trying to create an erasure. You know, because even if somebody is post-op, what is the likelihood that like they would want to have anything to do with that person regardless? I don't know. I don't know if I've ever met, in my short time on this planet, I don't know if I've ever met somebody that was like, you know, I don't care. Now they're a woman now. Anecdotally, I've never heard that. I've never experienced that. But I know that there are people that are just attracted to trans women in general. And it is a separate thing. They're specifically attracted to trans women. But who knows? It's a wild world out there. And I'm just some jamoke.
Has sex ever made you regret your transition? I would say no. I don't think sex really has anything to do with my transition, because I guess for me, like, I could go the rest of my life without having sex.
Not
Yeah, because your libido's really low.
Regret. I would never ever regret anything. But right after I got my surgery and like got my first boyfriend, I was like, oh my God, why is this so much work? Like, because you have to dilate and like clean yours, like clean and like all this stuff. Once you go that far, there's nothing really you can't handle. So it's just all about patience at that point.
So at that point, you just been through the ringer with your vagina.
And like letting everything heal, and your day will come.
I'm at a point in my transition where like sex doesn't give me any validation anymore. I think when I was younger, that was definitely an issue, and I thought I needed to be having so much sex.
Yeah, it might be an insecurity thing. Do you think this person may or could be possibly insecure, regardless of transitioning or not? So if somebody were to fetishize this person and say, yeah, let's fucking go. Yeah, I can understand. Like, attention is attractive. Who doesn't like being paid attention to? Just one of those facts of life, you know? Know what I mean?
To have people really think, that I was the most perfect and beautiful woman.
What's one thing you wish you could debunk about being a trans woman? This whole like pervert thing and like, us trans women using the restroom. It's like, honey, all we do there is wash our hands or pee or poop, and then we're gone.
Straw man. Nobody actually thinks that about like trans women specifically. They think about people taking advantage of the rule and self-identifying to be a pervert.
I am not there to look and stare at your anything.
One of the things that I wish that we can debunk is that we often don't get tested. We often don't want to know our HIV status. People think that, we're just walking around,
Is that a thing? I don't know if I've ever heard that. Granted, I'm a naive cloistered boy. So I don't really know, but I have never heard that before.
Just like a walking STD, we're not.
We just want to be normal. We want to live a life. We want happiness. We want boyfriends. We want husbands. We want to not be killed. We don't want to be threatened. We don't want to be somebody's secret. We don't want to be your side chick. Every night I get texts from midnight till 5 in the morning, and it's so annoying because those are hoe hours. And I'm not nobody's hoe. I'm special. I'm unique.
What is something you wish you had learned in sex ed?
I wish that I learned being trans isn't a sexuality, it's an identity. Like, I thought because...
Do they teach... Hold on. I mean, I guess they're going to answer this question, but do they teach anything about being trans in sex ed these days? They probably do nowadays. It's probably a thing, but do they teach it as a sexuality if they do even broach the subject at all? I doubt it. I doubt that it was ever... I don't know. Maybe that, again, naivete. I only went to public school, so I only had to take sex ed for like 2 years. And it's mostly a joke. It's just mostly not relevant to very much of anything, and you just snicker and you laugh and you say, oh, they're putting a condom on a banana, and oh, some people are gay, anal sex, oh, you get pregnant if you have premarital sex, and that's a bad thing. Such an innocent time I grew up in. A lot of times, you may wonder, like, why do I watch these kinds of videos? Why do I investigate these things? A lot of it has to do with like the fact that I have a young son myself. And I am trying to better understand the world he's going to walk into. And have a more well-rounded opinion about it. Also be able to smell bullshit. in terms of how the American education system is going when it comes to sexuality or identity or anything like that, it's in a very precarious place right now. I feel like I got to learn to be an effective parent, to be an effective guide for my young kid, you know?
Because of my own experience, I thought, okay, all trans women who transition from male to female, they like men. But that's clearly not the case. Like, you can be a trans woman and love women. You can love both, or you can love men.
I wish that I would have learned that sex doesn't equal love. I think I would have realized that just because I was 13 and I thought that I loved him and we had sex, so that meant that he loved me too.
The emotional...
You gotta teach that in sex ed. You gotta teach regret in sex ed. Emotional maturity. Yeah, I don't think you can really get that in a classroom. That's just more of an experiential thing, in my opinion.
Connectivity that comes from having sex with someone. After I've had sex with someone, it has never been the same when I'm in the room with them. When their name is brought up, there's a connection there that, for better or worse, those are pieces.
So I gotta say, this person must be in an open relationship with their wife. I wonder how she feels about that. We should be asking her questions as well.
Pieces of me that I wish I had guarded a little more in a lot of circumstances.
Everyone should explore their own bodies and find out what is best for them. You know, it shouldn't be about making other people happy or fulfilling a societal standard. Sex is fun, and it should be about that.
Oh, all right. Hard pivot. What is sex like for straight couples? Now, I got to know. So we've gone through this journey a little bit for the past 90 minutes or so. We're kind of at the end of that journey. But what is sex like for straight couples? I am very curious in terms of how they're going to frame that. How that's going to be part of the discussion. But before we do that, we're going to end the trans section of this video, and we're going to do it with a laugh. Okay? We're going to do it with some laughs and gaffs. And then we'll watch a couple more videos. Why not, right? Although I will say there'll probably be a few more live streams this week. If anybody's interested, I'm thinking about Thursday on D Live right here. Going to be checking out Buck Breaking, the Tariq Nasheed documentary that is the scourge of the internet. And the only place we're going to get away with watching it is here on D Live. Probably have the archive on Odyssey only. But I think Thursday night we're going to try to get to that. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, let's end with a laugh. Let's end this portion of Nightcap with a laugh before we move on, before we get even curiouser and even seriouser. Let's do that.
Oh, fuck. Shit. Dang. You're a demon, girl. Where you going? Come here. Give me a kiss. Give me a kiss.
This dude, this is Long Beach Griffey. He makes some of the funniest fucking videos on the internet. Especially if you're my age and you like anime. Not that I'm a huge proponent of anime or anything. Don't get me wrong. Don't be fucking crazy. But he's a funny dude. So you check out his channel, Long Beach Griffey. He's very popular. You probably have heard of him.
Well, it's my turn. Let me see how wet that 90 is.
Okay.
It was a way for him to show his penis and his comfortable pants there. His sweatpants. It's crazy. I could not think of the word sweatpants, and my mind went to comfortable pants. What a joy I am. What a cad.
Ooh. Ooh. Oh my God! What the fuck is that? That's my dick. Why are you so casual about this? That shit is big. Are you a woman? Yes. Are you trans? Yes, a trans woman. Still a woman. Why didn't you just tell me? I don't have to tell you anything. If trans persons are being murdered and assaulted for being trans, don't you think it would be wise to disclose that information to whomever you're being involved with, you know, for your safety? I shouldn't have to say anything because I'm a woman and they should be okay with that, regardless if I was born with a dick or not. Everyone doesn't think the same. Anyone who thinks differently than me and Twitcher is a transphobe. And if you don't date trans, fuck trans, have any trans friends, or even think about trans, you're a transphobic, misogynist, incel, hetero, and you should die. What if
that is like not an uncharitable view on the way that this stuff operates on Twitter from the activist community? Seriously.
If you're super straight.
The reason why like suck the dick bigot became a meme is from those people. They are legion. They are everywhere. You make a comment, they're going to jump in your mentions like crazy to try to correct you.
Oh, please. That's just hidden transphobia. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Don't be superphobic. Well, don't be transphobic and come suck this dick. I'm not transphobic. So I'm gonna suck a dick just to prove that I'm not transphobic. And you're not gay if you're doing it to prove a point, right? And you're a woman. And a dick ain't nothing but a big clit anyway. So whatever, sexuality, that shit is just a spectrum. It's just a spectrum.
Like, dude, the guy is fucking brilliant. He's got so many good videos.
Whatever, like gay, straight, bisexual. Let's just fucking vibe, bro. Let's just fucking vibe. Let me see the date.
Anyways, there you go. Long Beach Griffey. Very, very funny content creator. On YouTube, on Twitter, on Facebook. He gets bans from Facebook all the time, I think, actually. But yeah. What a time. What a time. All right, well, let's get back to what is sex like for straight couples. Jesus. Coming in strong with the music there, Jubilee. Didn't even warn a guy. I wasn't even warned. I was not conferred. Let's fucking roll. This video contains discussion or preference sexual stuff. COVID.
Oh, what is
yes.
your favorite position? Oh, easy. 3, 2, 1. From the
Reverse
back.
cowgirl.
Oh, some nice heartwarming material to end the night on. God, you've done it again, Shaun. You've done it again.
How long into your relationship did you wait to have sex?
10 minutes.
So like 3 hours?
I'll let you answer first because your answer is always wrong.
In my head, it was 3 days. 3 days, but 3 times that we've hung out, not 3 days.
3 times that we hung out.
Okay.
Yes.
I think it was a month. Our relationship we took really seriously that we should learn to love each other.
This is the Asian thing. I've watched so many videos like this, especially from Jubilee, from Truly. It's always Asian people being like, oh, you know, you got to have a standard. You got to have standards. You got to wait. Imagine a month. A month.
First before having sex, not making sex the reason why we're in love with each other.
Well, we still haven't. We are waiting until marriage.
When we first began talking or began dating, we both knew immediately that
She looks like Rachel Dratch. You know who Rachel Dratch is? SNL alum, bit player on the show 30 Rock. That's what she looks like.
that's where we stood.
I am lucky to find someone who was also willing to wait. But yeah.
Do you use any toys? If so, which ones?
Vibrators,
Collar, my favorite.
I really want him to learn how to, like tie me up in rope.
If I had known like that was gonna be part of my journey, I probably would have joined the Boy Scouts or something, you know?
We're fine with using them, but we don't need more spice. I think that would be a lot.
It would
be a lot.
We don't use any toys.
I would say I'm old-fashioned. I'm all for it if you...
No, seriously? You're old-fashioned, fella? This guy? Old-fashioned. Ho, ho, ho. This cannot stand. This cannot stand.
If you feel good and that helps, so if anyone could maybe sponsor us.
Personally, I would be open to it in the future, but I think...
Yeah, once we actually do something, do you think this girl, though, they say they haven't had sex. I've known and been aware of several girls that say, I won't have sex, but they will let you put their dick, or put your dick, rather. See, I'm all mixed up because of all the earlier videos. Put your dick in their butt. And they don't count that. They say, nah, I'm waiting for marriage. But hey, could you get back there and just fuck me in the butt? This is a thing. This is a thing. There was one girl, there's a story I know. I won't say who it involved. Maybe somebody on Zoobox. That said that they were waiting for marriage. They were reclaiming their virginity. So they would only suck dick and take it in the ass. That's all they would do. That's all they would do.
In the beginning, I want to try it natural in a sense.
Did you ever have periods of low desire or less sex? And how did you get through those or bounce back?
I think we're currently in one now.
Yeah.
We've been together 2
Oh, she's just like, I think you don't appreciate the vag. I think you're giving respect to my feminine temple.
years actually, and we celebrated by moving in together.
I did realize that after we've moved in, we've had a lot less sex.
I noticed that too, but we've been really busy. Like the furniture,
finals, planning vacations. You look sad.
So I'll text him in the morning time, even though he's in the bed right next to me. Normally like the cat emoji or like something, just letting him know like I want some.
Make me feel wanted and I'll, return the favor, make her feel.
Yeah, because what tells your partner that's sitting right next to you that you want them more than the cat heart emoji? Oh, what a wonderful circumstance we're all enjoying these days.
Feel wanted and, just building up the anticipation throughout the day, throughout the week.
I had a low sex drive when Shaun was pregnant, and it wasn't because I didn't desire you. We just were limited in the type of sex that we could have at that time. Although we still had sex, it wasn't like it was in the past.
Yes, but I think a rule that we set really early on, which I don't know if we ever verbalized, but I don't...
I gotta tell you something, Ro. I gotta tell you something. I gotta say it out loud. This is a hot little number right here. She's here with this dude from Party All the Time, whatever, trucker hat guy. You have the child, sir. You gotta get yourself some nice collared Hawaiian shirts. I advocate for this. This look right here. No, this is the look of a child. This is a woman. This is a Vanessa Williams type. You gotta show her that you're there, that you're with her. Just put on a t-shirt and jeans. Remove everything else. Maybe get a haircut. This is me, the love guru.
Ever turn you down, and you don't ever turn me down.
Yeah.
Even during pregnancy sex, when I knew that you weren't enthusiastic, if I came on to you, you would still be like, okay,
I didn't do it like that.
Not like that, but.
What is your favorite position?
Oh, wait. Ready?
Downward doggy.
Yeah, I'm ready. 3, 2, 1. From the
Reverse
back.
cowgirl. 3, 2, 1.
Doggy.
You on top.
What did you say?
You on top.
We Googled up what is the laziest sex position.
And
so
it
we
was
all
the one that we do all the time.
These are the most boring straight people on the planet. Doggy. Doggy is your preferred. You guys need to have some drinks and hang out.
And we're like, wow, we
We
are
are
really lazy.
Do you ever have the desire to have sex with someone else?
Oh, here we go. Truth moment, folks. Truth moment. Truth moment. I feel like a lot of women are going to say yes. And a lot of these poor... Look, he's terrified. Look at his face. Terrified. She's just like, let me think about it. He's just like, what is she going to say? What is she going to say?
I do. I think we all do. But
What
we just
a
never
monster.
act upon it.
No, not at all.
Absolutely.
Yes.
The desire, for sure. If anyone.
Okay, we have some mature adults in the room. They're just like, yeah, dude, like, you watch pornography, you see somebody at the store, and you're never going to approach them, you're never going to do anything. But everybody's just like, well, it's a hot thing. My wife, all the time, she comes in contact with way many more people than I do. All the time, people come on to her. She thinks it's funny. I said, who are they? So I can get them. And snuff them out.
One answers that question otherwise, they're lying.
We had a period where we like got rid of our urges and we allowed each other to like talk to other people, but only through texting. Because if everything's just online, it's not really real. It's just for fun. And then
Yeah, that's some delusional stuff. This guy's like, oh yeah. It's just online. I just chat some chicks up. I mean, because even though he had that shocked face, he immediately answered in the affirmative. This is a player. Is he wearing Oakland colors?
I like that about us because the whole thing is all about compromises.
we're always compromising. We meet in the middle a lot. Yes.
Okay. Are there things you don't like that you've never told your partner?
I personally don't like when something is over exaggerated. Maybe comments about like size or comments about like how something feels. I like it to be, for me, it's a very honest process.
No, we have this thing where he gets too into it, too excited, and I don't quite get there because
He comes. We have a premature ejaculator here on our hands, folks. And if she's not getting there because he's too excited, that means the foreplay is trash. That's what that means. If he is a early comer, this guy should be about getting this lady off first. Whether that's from mouth stuff or hand stuff or whatever. But he should not be. It should not be like this. Look at this joyless, dejected look she has on her face. And look at this guy. He's like, she's spilling some tea now.
I know first.
he does. He finishes his work first, and he does a good job at like making sure I'm satisfied too.
I may get up and leave, or like randomly, like if we like finish like one round or something.
We have not heard enough from this couple. We have not heard enough from them. Probably the most adventurous of all of them.
I may go get some water or something, and then I may end up walking past the TV and like.
Yeah, because you said you had what now? Was it?
ADD.
Yeah, he has ADD.
I look at sex as like a marathon, not necessarily a sprint. And so I look at it as like you can pause and stop. So like I may pause here.
Go make a sandwich, watch some fucking Seinfeld, and then I'll be back. Don't worry, just wait for me.
Get right back up a few minutes later.
I be wanting to go all night long. I'm like, there is no timeouts, coach.
No pause.
You should have got water before you started.
How long does sex normally last?
I don't keep track.
I'm gonna say 15 to 20 minutes. If these people have been together for any amount of time, 15 to 20 minutes. And then you have those nights, usually a nightcap is involved, and you're off to the races.
I mean, on a good day, yes, 10 minutes. or maybe more sometimes.
We don't do foreplay.
We just normally straight
to the.
We don't do foreplay. Interesting. They just go straight for it. Just straight in. I'm telling you, if you're not a fan of foreplay, you're really only cheating yourself. You're only cheating yourself, you're cheating your spouse or your significant other. You're cheating the whole game, the whole system. It's all about foreplay sometimes. Sometimes. That's what it's all about.
Boy, done and done.
He normally gives me a good 30 minutes.
And I also would say it depends on if she had been drinking or not, or we have been drinking.
Yeah.
So like if his wine is,
See, like I said, the realest couple here.
it's a different story. The ball game there, but
What you trying to say?
3.
Also, I respect his hold on. His Beavis and Butthead attire. Me and this guy could hang out. We could be cool. We'd be bros. We'd be friends.
3, 2, 1.
15.
37 minutes.
37 minutes.
I think so. We actually have a video of us having sex. Let's see how long it is.
Whoa.
I'm not gonna show
Whoa,
it. I'm gonna see the time
whoa.
code. Oh, it's only 13:43.
But I think we stopped recording.
Okay, so then if you add that plus the 20 minutes, we're right on time.
You did it right.
Do you both finish every time?
For these people, no. He does. But she does not. She does not.
I finish every time.
You do. You know what? You have.
He makes sure I finish every single time first. Like, he makes sure I'm taken care of, and then he worries about himself.
Then
So
you
I appreciate
bust
that.
Yes.
that nut.
Yes. That's something that was not prioritized with me and something that he does a really good job of making sure. It's really unfortunate.
See, you see this. You see this is a theme. It's always the dude's responsibility. Oh, the dudes, you got to get me there, and then you could do whatever you want. Misandry at its worst. Misandry at its worst, everybody.
Though that in a straight couple relationship, the female typically always has to finish first. It's just constantly, okay, let's like get you off and then you get to go kind of thing.
My best orgasm is yet to come. And I feel like only I can give it to
What?
me. It's just not. It's nothing about him. It's just my body, and it's incredible. It's so difficult for me to.
She always tells
to blast off. Her body is difficult to blast off. Maybe you were matched with the wrong penis, I guess. I don't know. I hate to shit on this guy. I'm sure he's a very nice dude. A gentleman, even. But this is their fundamental problem. This is the couple that said they don't do foreplay. Ma'am. Get into foreplay. Like, what the fuck are you doing? What are you doing? This poor fucking guy, he's just got to sit here and take it and feel emasculated. Well, maybe if you made room for foreplay, you would have the best orgasms of your life, young lady. The best.
Tells me how and this way and do that way, but then
just doesn't
sometimes
work.
it doesn't work, or I get too into it, and then I feel like bad sometimes.
He's like, I blow my load.
Too, because I feel like I'm selfish in that part.
Even like when I'm just doing it to myself, I feel shameful when I hit orgasm, and it's just like a natural feeling that today I still don't understand why.
Okay. Do you care if your partner
dark.
watches porn?
It's probably going to be a split. I feel like she's going to care. He's not going to cop to it. He does.
I do.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't think it is okay to watch. It would definitely hinder our relationship and our connection.
He gulps. He's like, you don't think it's okay? Shit.
Especially since we haven't had sex, I want to be the only woman that he looks at,
From everything that we know about porn and any study done, I don't see any healthy benefits to it.
I don't care if she watches porn. I enjoy watching porn together. That's pretty fun. Everyone should try it.
Big Paul says, cue Alec Baldwin comparing sex to Chinese food. It ain't over till you both get your cookies. He's here all week.
Seriously, some people need it.
Yeah, we both watch porn.
We even show each other the porn to watch. Like, did you see this one?
I don't understand this stigma.
That's too far. That's too far. You can't be like sharing porn. It should be a dirty, transgressive thing that you do by yourself. You should not be sharing with your partner. There's no comfort level. No, that doesn't mean that you can't like acknowledge, be like, oh, well, my partner, my wife, my husband, like, yeah, they watch porn. Whatever. That's fine. I don't need to fucking see it. I don't need to be having people sending it to me on Facebook Messenger, be like, check this one out, husband. Check this one out, wife. I guess unless you're trying to maybe you're trying to make a hint. Like, oh, look what they're doing. I would say that couple, the Asian couple that has a hard time coming, the girl that has a hard time coming, that might be a healthy expression for her. Because she'd be like, hey, look at what they're doing here. Maybe we just try that out sometime.
Behind it too, because it's just like everyone watches it.
I feel like porn often can be just used as a tool to like fix a problem or a stress or something to be integrated into your life that has nothing to really do with sexual like satisfaction. It's more of just something to do to feel different.
Feel different? No, it's a release valve, sir. Sometimes you can't just saddle up to your partner, your lady, your wife, your husband, and just be like, yo, I know it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon on a Tuesday, but you busy? Sometimes you're just better off just fucking cranking it out, being done with it, putting it to bed. You know, you fucking blow that cheese, and then you go home. Relatively speaking,
I've struggled with that my whole life, is using things to feel better instead of actually dealing with whatever the problem is at hand.
Are you comfortable with me? Okay, so there was a period where he was single for like 1.5 years, and I guess that's where his porn addiction came in.
My sex drive is...
His porn addiction came in. He was single for 1.5 years. So is this an arranged marriage? He was single for 1.5 years. What does that indicate? What does that mean? What the fuck does that mean? How can you... He was single for 1.5 years before you came along. Or is it just exclusively before you came along? Or are they suggesting that he had 1.5 years of... Just 1.5 years of being a free, self-actualized sexual being without a partner before he met her, and they were forced into a marriage.
Pretty high, I must say. Yeah, it just happened, and then but I don't watch that much anymore.
This one day I was going through his phone, and like I saw that like porn, and I was like, did you download this? That was when I was like, tell me about this. Like, he's been having that same problem for like a whole year, and then at that time I felt like, oh, okay, so I've been with you for a whole year, and somehow I didn't know about this. I didn't feel like he was cheating on me on any kind. I don't think that watching porn means cheating. I just feel like I deserve to know if my partner is, you know, and because it makes me feel like, oh, am I not giving you enough? I wasn't completely.
You just accept it. You just accept that adults watch pornography. I mean, she earlier had said that basically she only comes really hard when she's masturbating. She's doing it herself. So what's the difference? Is she not watching pornography? Like, what are your thoughts, ma'am? Let's get in there. Let's put one of these neural net things on your brain. See what synapses are firing when you're making yourself come. Are you thinking of things? There's a very fine line. There's a very fine line here.
Really happy about it. But after we communicate, we're fine now. So, yeah.
See, does your partner's body count matter to you? Why and why not? No, it doesn't matter to me.
Definitely when we were dating, there were a lot of people, especially people who didn't know us, that would like to.
Doesn't matter to me either. Good guy Shaun over here. Doesn't matter to me either. It does help that it's low. It does help that it's a low number. But it doesn't really matter to me. Be honest with you.
Assume that I was dating him for money. My mom even thought I was dating him for money.
I'm both.
Because he's a fucking, he's a fat rap mogul, probably. Or maybe he has some sort of cooking show.
When he opened up to me, I didn't realize like how many people he has experience with, which it didn't bother me because he was really transparent about it when I asked.
I never thought about that.
Yeah, we never talked about it.
Yeah.
I actually am attracted to a woman with experience. And for me, I have no room to shame.
And she's just like, I got you, buddy. I got the experience. I mean, this is a fucking gorgeous woman. This fucking Jamoke over here, this Joker, should be lucky. He should count himself lucky to be with a fucking woman like that. Like, that's a woman, dude. Am I laying it on thick? Maybe a little bit.
Because my body count is...
But goddamn, look at that beautiful face. I mean, look at this girl. It's a little ridiculous. Especially when you see here a fucking BYOB Fun Times guy. It's just like, oh, lady, please. I hope he's probably a great guy. He's probably a very good dude. Treats her right. Supportive, etc., etc. But I'm just saying.
Something.
Yeah. Why Jared laughed is because he lied to me about his partners. So he told me, I think he said 7.
No one should believe anybody that says.
And she's just like, she immediately knows bullshit. Look at this beautiful angel. She immediately knows. She's like, full of shit. What he's saying is half rationalization. Because I'm a decent person. I'm a decent woman. I don't just stick it. I don't just let it get stuck wherever.
Partners. So he told me, I think he said 7.
No one should believe anybody that says 7.
Well, I did.
That's just not a
I
right
did.
number.
And then this year, for the first time, he was like, you know it's not 7, right?
Yeah, like, after they've had a child together, he's just like, you know, I was a dirty dog, if you will.
And I was like, no, I didn't. I don't know. I don't care. But I was just like, why would you lie about that?
There's so much pressure about body count, and I think when you have a high body count, there's like a stigma that gets placed on.
What I really enjoy is that people talk about sexual conquest, sexual partners, as if they're describing a match of Call of Duty. Like, my KD ratio is great. It's fantastic.
On you, maybe rightfully so, but I didn't want that to interfere with what we had going on.
I talk about sex for a living. Why would I, of all people, be like, oh, you've had sex with double digits?
Well, you make such a big deal about it being.
See, now we're getting into the primacy here. Now, maybe she's a sex therapist or a counselor, maybe a sex educator. And even then, the reality strikes us all. Nobody wants to think that their spouse or their significant other fucked 100 people. There's a funny meme. I can't remember exactly what it is, but it's like the longer you wait to find the one, the more dicks she has inside of her. Think about that, fellas.
7.
Because it was crazy.
Such a big deal.
I'm talking first on this one. So, and we've had this conversation before where it was like, I don't know, over 100 for your body count, probably?
I don't know.
He doesn't know.
Something like
over 100 for this guy? Well, cornbread country boy, it looks like a little bit. I don't get the necklaces. A lot of necklaces floating around. It's coming back. I'm not a fan.
Like that.
So he's been sober for 7 years, going on 8, and so a lot of it was like, I don't know what you're doing, you know, like you're fucked up, I'm fucked up kind of situation.
At least half I can't even like
half.
really recall the names and stuff.
I mean, it may have bothered me in the beginning, not for like oh, this is how many people's lives you've been a part of, but more so of like, I felt out-experienced kind of thing.
I struggle with emotional connection and
Yeah, but she likes it though. She likes the end result. Do the ends justify the means? Maybe. In her case, she seems pretty happy. She's pretty giddy. I don't know how long they've been together. I may have missed it. But she seems pretty okay with it. And she's looking at him, oh, he's opening up. He's being sensitive and vulnerable. Yeah, when you're a dude who's fucked 100 girls, you can just be like, oh, I was just really lost. I was looking for myself. And you know how it is, guys.
Sex. And that is one thing that actually, I don't even think I've told it to you, but that has been, I can't compare anything. Yeah.
I can't compare.
I can't compare anything to the way that I feel with you emotionally in sex. I just can't.
All right. What does consent look like for you two?
Communication.
What does consent look like? What the fuck does that mean? Does consent look like?
Just being open with each other and
'Cause,
what we
yeah.
like and don't like. You know, in the middle of it, I'll ask if like
Yeah, same.
everything's,
Mhm.
you know, like, oh, is this
Oh,
still
like,
fine?
yeah,
Like,
you're
are you
good, you're
okay?
good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He'll ask me if I want.
What kind of freaky shit are they doing where she's just like insecure about asking him, is it okay? And also, you know, maybe the gauges are a giveaway, but a little bit of a beta here. She's asking him, so she's the forward one. She's just like, we got to experiment, okay? I need things. I have desires.
Okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He'll ask me if I want to use toys or anything. He'll check in with me, see if my legs are hurting or anything, or if my back's okay. So he checks in with me a lot.
Consent.
You know, I've had a lot of sex, folks, but I don't know if I've ever stopped in the middle to be like, is your back okay? Maybe that's a fault. Maybe that's a failing on my part, you know?
Should always be present. Just because you're in a long-term committed relationship doesn't mean you won't have to ask the other person if they're okay anymore. I would say it's the most important thing about sex. Yeah.
Like, yeah, like when he's watching porn and, you know, he's just like a little too excited. Gotta be consensual. Gotta know. Gotta constantly check in. I mean, occasionally you got to check in. You know, if you're really dicking down, if you're really hammering somebody, I suppose it would be polite to check in. But other than that, like if you start, like, unless you're doing some sort of wild shit and there's clamps involved and handcuffs or whatever, I don't know if you really need a check-in. They don't seem like they need a check-in. You know? It's probably a lot of standard missionary doggy style. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Whatever gets the job done, in my opinion.
That's something that I wish I was, I've been raped twice and both those situations were in relationships, which is really rare. And what happens is that, what you realize is that like consent is not just a one-time thing. Consent continues. Like he asked for consent every single time throughout the entire process of it.
Yeah, I have to sign forms every 4.5 minutes. You good? Sign this form, please.
Which is something I've never had before. That's a really, really cool thing to happen, and it makes me feel really validated and really good, especially after sex. It's like, he does a really good job of just making you feel safe. And I wish like all guys knew that. I wish all guys were just taught that. So I'm really thankful that he's there.
I just wish all guys knew that, were taught that, what, like to cuddle after the fact? Are you denying someone's agency or position? Pretty heinous stuff.
And he relearned
Not
and
really.
retaught and all that. Yeah.
I love you.
Love you.
Well, there you go. Are you afraid of sex? Hold on here. Virgin answer is very okay. We're doing this. This is the last video of the night. Thank you so much for joining us. If you're here, thank you so much for watching the replay. And we're gonna send ourselves off with a Virgin answers very personal questions. I feel like we've run the whole gamut tonight. A very coherent, cohesive episode. Not always the case.
How badly do you want to have sex?
Very badly. Very, very, very badly.
I feel like she could get it.
This is gonna be interesting.
How do you define virginity? It's really making me think here.
If we're talking like
Never having sex before? That's virginity? Not a complicated question.
heteronormative,
It's so complicated.
Heteronormative? Like, what's the difference? If you're having gay sex, straight sex, sex with a trans person. She's like that girl I was talking about earlier, where it's just like, oh, well, you know, a lot of butt sex. That doesn't really count.
Penis and vagina.
I feel like a 2-year-old like talking about this right now.
Penetrative sex, whether that be dick, tongue, you know, toy kind of thing.
You know, that's actually an interesting question because like if you read the technical definition, I'm pretty sure it says like even like oral sex is considered losing virginity, and even kissing can be considered losing your virginity.
Whatever you consent to is pretty much what defines your own virginity.
I'm a man of faith.
So all of these people have not consented to anything?
And so I'm a believer. And so I definitely see sex as a responsibility. Abstinence even goes further to that, even looking at a girl lustfully and looking at a girl in a sexual manner, just like keeping your eyes pure.
Like, that's such a, you know, not to knock the religious folk or anything like that, but that's very repressed. Even to look and feel lustful towards somebody is like a category to be noticed. Do you really even have control of that? It just kind of happens. This guy got a cat of nine tails. He's just fucking whipping himself.
How badly do you want to have sex?
Very badly. Very, very, very badly.
I mean, I'm a teen.
I wouldn't have guessed. Wouldn't have guessed orange hair gal. She would have been in the stable back in the day.
Teenager, but I'm not a horny teenager.
I just never had the need or want, to be honest. I haven't done anything. I haven't had a boyfriend, or I haven't even had my first kiss. I'm not in a rush.
On the scale of how horny am I, I'm not that horny, but it definitely needs to happen.
It's something.
He's just looking at it pragmatically. He's just like, listen, like, you know, there are just things you do. There are just achievement points to be had just to do it. Poor bastard. I mean, some people just born with a low sex drive. Maybe he's just one of those people. He looks like he might be one of those people. Just do it, though, buddy. Just do it.
I get to look forward to. And so once that moment happens, it's going to be really, really amazing. But I hear that there's like an attachment, and I don't want to gain that attachment when I'm not ready for it. I've seen actually a lot of drama from it too. And so with me, I'm like, I ain't trying to get a part of that drama. You know?
I feel like the only times I really like actually think about romantic relationships or sex is like when I see it in a movie, and it's like, oh, look at that. And then I'm like on the couch by myself, and I'm like,
You might be gay. Or he could just be a feminine dude, but he might be gay. He just hasn't come to terms with it yet.
Like, oh, that would be nice.
Why are you a virgin? Straight up, it's that it just hasn't happened to me in like natural progression of life.
I grew up in a Christian family that
believes in abstinence. If I have
Like, this is somebody, like, again, like we were talking about the trans people, like, this is a person that would be fetishized. Asian fetishes and Christian communities, definitely a thing. Definitely a thing.
sex, I'll go to hell. So that's the only time I ever heard about it.
Yes, I love Jesus, but also I completely know I'm gonna be a freak when I like lose my virginity, and I don't want to unleash on anyone who's not my husband. I'm just saying.
Macy Gray. Cause she's just like, they would not be able to handle the intensity of this pussy. This wop.
I was always scared too, just because like my parents were really young when they had me. So it was just something that I didn't want to repeat.
Me and my twin were assaulted, so I am a bit more careful about it, I guess.
Yeah, that makes sense. You had a bad formative experience, probably going to turn you off to the entire endeavor, at least for a little while, right? You're going to be much more cautious, like she just said. So let's hear what she has to say. The rest of it.
In a sense. I guess I am the way I am because I've been through what I've been through.
I'm a Christian, and I think a large part of my life,
This might be a theme, the Christian theme, for some of these people. At least, like, seems like at least half of them. Yeah, I mean, like, you know, I was raised Catholic. It was all the same. But, like, people, like, you know, when you live in that kind of a repressive environment, when people discover it or have an opportunity to engage in it, they freak the fuck out. It becomes all they care about. I saw that happen with a lot of people growing up.
like believe that premarital sex was a sin. I'm like in this middle stage where I'm trying to figure it out and like reading books and having conversations with people. As people I think are doing more research into that, they're realizing that what they believed to be like condemned isn't exactly condemned.
It says, have you ever had an orgasm?
It just, you know, just the technicalities. Have you ever had an orgasm? Yeah, this guy jerks it 5 times a week.
I'm a guy, you know, I fall short.
Do I have to answer this? Can I skip it?
All the
No.
Christians are just like, oh, I will not answer it. This girl, she's like, fucking no.
I have not, which is, I guess that's probably why.
I don't believe you, though. I you know, I don't believe you. I don't know if there's a way around that, I guess. I don't know. Like she said, her and her twin sister were assaulted, so gotta give some leeway there.
I'm like so anxious about that because I don't, like, I've never done that.
In school growing up, people would always make fun of those people who were like masturbating all the time. So I thought it was something stupid. So I honestly never did it till I was 18 years old.
I don't think I actually knew what I was doing though. I just knew that like I would do something and it would feel really good, and then I was like, I should do that more. Like,
Yeah, the experience of every person coming into their own.
So my mom offered to buy me my first vibrator. She was like, hey, so I know you're like older and you're independent and you have like needs. Please try to like make sure it's not like $200, but like I'll buy you like your first vibrator. And yeah, so she's amazing.
Would you rather your first time be with a virgin or someone experienced? Whoa, I haven't thought about that.
Preferably someone with experience.
I mean, I feel like one of us should know what we're doing, right?
I feel like I'm fine either way. I don't know. I think there's just like the whole like insecurity thing. I would constantly be comparing myself to like that other person's past partners, or I would be thinking like, am I doing this right?
That's because you're neurotic. I mean, it really doesn't matter. You're just being neurotic.
Honestly, I'd rather my first time be with another virgin, just so I could feel comfortable that we both don't know what we're doing.
I think it's more about the person, you know? If you really are in love with them or you really have a connection with them, it shouldn't matter.
Are you ever embarrassed about being a virgin? I feel like the older I get, I'm already 22, so it's like kind of weird, but I'm not gonna lie, I do get embarrassed about it sometimes, yeah.
There's a stigma against virgins, right? That you're awkward or you're weird or there's something wrong with you. You can't make eye contact. You can't hold a conversation. And while I don't exude any of those things, like that's not me. It's been my
She's describing the incel experience
experience when I have gone on dates in the past where they will take the time to get to know me and see like my glowing personality. And then they find out this piece that I think is a very small piece about me. And all of a sudden my entire being is framed by that one thing.
You know, I try to set my expectations up front. And initially they're like, okay, like I respect that. But the longer the relationship goes on, they try to pressure you. I did have this one guy call me in the middle of the night for 5 hours to tell me that Christianity wasn't real, God isn't real, I was being ridiculous. So yeah, that ended.
It's so awkward. Sometimes if there are people around you just trying to brag all the time, kind of bragging about how many times they've had sex, like I don't even want to explain to them why. So it's better just to hit that white lie. Yeah, I've had sex. They're probably not gonna question. I think they'd question it more if you told them you were a virgin than if you just lied and told them you're not a virgin.
Yeah, I can understand that. I can understand that. There's a lot of peer pressure to talk about sexual conquest and to be part of the party, if you will.
Whenever we would be at a party or something like that, oh, you're the virgin, you're the goody good, you know? But I think over time, it's like, I embraced it. It's one of those things, it's like, once you get to a certain point, it's like, I'm 29. Shoot, if I'm get to the...
I'm 29. He's 29 and he's a virgin. 29. Not a young fella. And he's the virgin guy at the parties. You would think there'd be people just like making passes constantly. Maybe he's a liar. I don't know.
The 40-year-old virgin type thing, like, I'm cool with it.
Have you had the chance to lose your virginity but chose not to? Yes, I've had the chance.
Yeah, I've had a chance to.
No. Yeah.
No. I wasn't so...
Like, you know, I don't want to be a creeper. I hope this is not like some 15-year-old girl. That'd be weird. But, like, this person, like, she could get laid. She could get laid. She just got to get out there, I guess.
Social, and just very bad at talking to people. I'm also very oblivious to flirting.
There's always just those people.
Honestly, that's like my sister, my youngest sister. That's who that person reminds me of. That's why I say that. And definitely not a virgin. But like, yeah, I'll just leave it there. I don't need to get into my sister's business.
People that slide into your DMs and are like, hey, you want to have sex with me? I'm like, stranger, go away, no.
Yes. It was there, and something just told me, like, it's just not.
God does not want this. God does not want it. You know, I knew a guy as Catholic as they come. No pun intended. As Catholic as they come, and as soon as the door was open, he was drunk, she was drunk. They stepped through that door. Just completely primal. It's a hard thing to deny, you know? Maybe this dude is also straight edge. I don't know. He's not divulging a lot.
Worth it.
It was after like winter formal, and I made out with this guy. He finished, and he wanted to continue and stuff. But I was just like, you know, I'm okay.
Do you ever regret not taking those chances?
Not really, because a lot of those chances were like a party situation, or like you're drunk, they're drunk. It's not like it was a romantic situation where it was super intimate and you just missed out because you were scared. So,
see, this is the problem with a lot of these people. The longer they hold on to their virginity, the more precious they think it is. So they start to rationalize, like this guy, probably like the Jesus guy as well. They start to rationalize and they think, oh, well, it's just, you know, it's not for me. It's not right. Rather than just kind of going for it.
I really don't feel like I missed out in those scenarios.
Do you watch porn? When I was like younger, it was Tumblr porn, and it was like, this is like, is anybody watching? Close my door, lock my door, make sure no one knows this is happening, and then be like, oh my gosh.
It's so awkward. I'm like, these people are doing it on camera.
I don't watch porn now, but I think there was like a big part of my like life every day, like watching porn. I think like it did get
because he's a good Christian boy, and he's reformed. He's reformed. Of course not. Not now. He ain't not fooling anybody, buddy.
to the point of addiction, this constant reminding of like, this is really bad, and you like beat yourself up about it, and you're like not telling anybody about it because you just assume that none of your friends are watching porn. Porn is all.
Yeah, that's like the repressive nature of like coming from a Christian community. Not to knock Christianity. I think there's a lot of valuable aspects to it, but when you make people feel this way, because most, and I'll even say like most Christians, most Catholics, definitely just kind of give in to primacy. This guy just never got there, so he constructed a reason why. A pathology.
Also like something where like even like I'm rethinking a lot. When I like more lean towards like, I don't know if porn is bad, when my viewpoint shifted, I just like, there wasn't anything that I was fighting anymore. So I just stopped watching porn.
I feel like if you can differentiate that porn isn't real life from the fact that it is, like porn is strictly an entertainment thing, as long as you're consuming in moderation, it shouldn't be a problem.
Are you
that guy? Loves porn. He loves porn.
Afraid for your first time? Yeah, totally. Me and like someone else just being that intimate with each other and revealing that much of yourself to someone else is just intimidating.
I'm not, because I kind of just like, if I trust this person, then I shouldn't have a reason to be afraid.
I'm afraid of...
So she trusted a person enough to make out with them and jerk them off, but not to have sex.
It not meeting my expectations. I think since I've had so long to fantasize about it, I have all these like visions of like, oh my gosh, we're gonna be on like satin sheets with rose petals and candles, and I think I've amped it up a lot in my head.
I'm afraid I'm not gonna get any pleasure out of it because there's the huge like stereotype is it's pleasure for the guy and the girl doesn't get anything. I'm pansexual, and if I do end up having a male partner.
How can you be pansexual without ever experiencing sex? You have nothing to juxtapose any of your experiences against. Maybe that's part of your problem, Just thinking about it too much.
Partner and that happening, that would really suck. So I did hear from friends that it's not going to be very pleasant. And I know it's going to be awkward, but that's why I hope it's with the right person, just so we can laugh it off afterwards.
I see myself after like the wedding, where it's like going back to the room. Yeah, and then there's this special moment where this is actually something I think gonna be really surprising for a lot of people, is I actually want to pray. This is gonna be crazy. It's gonna sound crazy. I think it'll be a beautiful, beautiful thing to be able to actually like pray and stuff like while doing it. It sounds crazy, but like I just think it's so beautiful.
No, it is. That's crazy. That's creepy.
So yeah.
Oh, just a funny guy. All right, everybody. Well, I guess that's it. That's the night. I am disheveled at the end of my rope. The end of it all. Let's end the night with something special, though. Give me a moment. Oh, really? Well, we'll just...
It's all good. It's all right. Everybody get paid.
Tonight.
He came from heaven.
Thank you so much, everybody. We'll talk to you later. You never know what's going to happen on NIGHTCAP. Adios. We bid you farewell.
It's alright. Everybody gets laid tonight.